Yeah, Garrett, here we are.
Hell yeah, brother.
We are
Um,
we are live. Yeah.
uh, this
It's a little
Thursday,
it's a
June.
little weird because well, I was going to say, hold on. It's a little weird because the controls are all on my end
Mhm.
and you're taking the reins as host. So, but go ahead.
Just Thursday, June 6th here, D-Day. 80 years ago, the original D-Day happened on the beaches of Normandy in France. Major's Detroit D-Day is once again finding another way to do live shit. On a quiet Detroit sports day, although not a quiet day in the city of Detroit, grand opening of the Michigan Central Station is taking place. Something that in our lifetime years ago, like we thought the building may have eventually get demolished, like a lot of things in the city of Detroit. However, it's back, it's alive, it's going on. There's about a concert that's about to start at the top, I think 8:30 or whatever it is. Um, and yeah, so it's a joyous day to take note of all around. And with that, Adam, who's got like I don't know how many screens you have in front of you right now, dude, but
I have
uh,
well, I have OBS up right now, and I will tell you what, I haven't used OBS since before COVID, because that's how we used to do all of our podcasting.
yeah,
Um, And if there's like a shitty connection or anything like that right now, just bear with me, bear with us, as we try to work out some of these bugs and some of the this learning curve, this new learning curve with this newer OBS software. We literally decided just to kind of do this tonight. Um,
mm-hmm,
just because we wanted to try it out. I mean, originally we were going to do this how we normally do it. We usually do it through Skype, and then I'll edit everything after the fact and, just go from there. But we wanted to kind of come up with a way to, you know, maybe get things out a little quicker. Um, as opposed to the usual way that we do stuff. And that's not to say that we're going to stop doing, the more produced type of podcast. We're still going to do that. We're just doing some testing and stuff like that to, see what we can do about doing, occasional live stuff and get things out quicker. So, and you've already seen it already with this one here, DSCSC live, and then you see them with channel 451 with the throw-ins. If you tuned in last night to Alan and myself, um, over on the 451 YouTube page, just kind of recapping some of the city stuff that happened over the past week. Garrett and Jaime got in on one over the weekend after the men's and women's games on Saturday. Um, and then Garrett and I also did a DCSC live last week. Again,
quick,
testing things out.
quick
And this is
cast on
what we're
Twitter
going to.
Space.
What was that, Garrett? I'm sorry.
The quick cast on Twitter Spaces last Thursday.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did a quick cast on Twitter Spaces, and we also did a another quick cast on YouTube Live. So, and this is where this is broadcasting to. It's broadcasting to YouTube Live, and yeah, I mean that's like I said, we're going to continue to kind of try these different things on top of uh, the produced regular Detroit City Sportscast that we do, and the Tunnel Talks that we do, and so on and so forth. So that's just kind of some initial house cleaning stuff that I wanted to kind of get out of the way now. But like I said, bear with us as we kind of work out some of the kinks and work out some of the work through some of those learning curves with this. So.
I think learning curves and keeping things the status quo going while you're changing things up, I think, is a good topic theme, a good segue to theme into. We're going the 3 period format, folks. So, give you if for those that are checking this out for the first time, Three main topics: first period, second period, third period, and then a little quick bit recap at the end, our post game. We get to open up with the Tigers tonight, first period. So, last time you heard us, the Tigers had their second game of their series in Boston over the weekend. Boston took that game two of the series in game three. The Tigers took game one and game four, split, coming from behind on Sunday from 3-0 down, blowing a 4-3 lead, somehow getting out of the bottom in the ninth inning, and then putting 4 runs into the top of the 10th. That wasn't really the big news that came out of the end of the weekend. As the start of the week happened in the 3-game series in Texas against the world champion Rangers, Spencer optioned to Toledo in AAA, joining Parker Meadows, who was already sent down earlier in the year. Got to see, getting the full name, Justin Henry Powell, I believe, come up and make his debut for the Tigers, his big league thing. In fact, Justin Henry Malloy going yard yesterday. A 3-game series for the Tigers that saw them take the game one and game two over the Texas Rangers 2-1 Monday. Jake Rogers being Ray Rogers with 2 solo shots. Bo Brisky with a strong bullpen performance as well during this series. Tuesday, Jack Flaherty goes 5, left precautionary, 3-1 Tigers win. Zach McKinstry going yard. Fire up Chips, bud. And then on Wednesday, not a joyous day. Kenta Maeda threw 2 pitches, left. Heavy bullpen day for Joey Wentz. Englert came on, and then Chafin. And once we fell behind by 8 runs, AJ Hinch made the call for Zach McKinstry to get onto the mound to see this out. 9-1 Rangers win, but the Tigers take the series. It's a day off today, and then 3-game series this weekend against the Brewers. So, Brewers are leading the NL Central. Then a 3-game series versus the Nationals to start things off this coming week. So, with what we had and saw last week and the news that came out this week, how are you feeling about the series, Adam, and then the series we just had with the Rangers?
I mean, obviously, aside from last night, we've seen some encouraging things with this squad. Again, we talked about it last week, and I'm going to continue to pound this home that we need to approach these last 2 series with caution, because you and I both agree that we need to see sustainable success. We need to see success over the course of the next few weeks. We can't see them win these 2 series, then all of a sudden go and drop the next 4. And that's how it is in baseball. It's not really about, if they lost last night, then head into the next, because who do they have next?
They got the Brewers for 3, and then day off, and then 3 games versus the Nationals. So 2 NL series.
Yeah. So if they obviously they lost the finale against Texas, which is fine. No worries about that. Obviously the Kenta Maeda injury is concerning, because that's another setback for him. And the Tigers kind of need that, they do need that veteran presence on that staff. Despite how good their pitching has been without Maeda this year, physically, mentally, whatever. If they go and they lose the next one, but win the next 2 against Milwaukee, and then, drop the second game of the series against the Nationals, and continue to win out that series, that's fine. It doesn't matter. They need to continue to put together series wins. However they do that, it like I said, it doesn't matter. Continue to win series, continue to turn that into a good week, then all of a sudden turn that into a two good or 2 good weeks, and then a good month, and then
Yeah.
so on and so forth from there. But that's what we need to see with this team. Bottom line, we need to see them have sustained success over the course of the next few weeks, not just, 2 series here, then have them go and lose the next three. We're at a point in the year right now where these are very, very important because we're coming up on, on whether or not this team is going to be a dealer or a buyer at the trade deadline. Um,
Right.
and if they continue to lose series, then unfortunately they're going to have to go and sell a guy like Jack Flaherty. Um, and
Right.
that's going to suck
1 year.
because all of a sudden we're in a position yet again with this team where we're looking at teams like Cleveland and Minnesota and maybe even Kansas City buying at the deadline while we're sitting here punting another year of Tigers baseball.
Yeah. I think the frustrating thing, we've often talked about this right now, is compared to like last year, we are seeing an increase in team fortune, production record, maybe a bit to where it's at. But the problem is, this isn't like the AL Central of last year where, this could get you near the race or get you in the second, be close to it. Problem is right now, you have Cleveland at 40 and 21, Kansas City at 37 and 26, Minnesota 33 and 28, Tigers at 31 and 31. The only team that's really, completely dragging ass in the Central is the White Sox. But the problem is 2 of those 3 wild card spots in the AL is currently held by division rivals. The other one is by Baltimore, who's at 39 and 22. Also a really good side. Their one downside is the Yankees are just absolutely raking it in the East at 44-19. So next couple series for this team isn't going to be against the Twins or the Royals to take direct games and get closer. Like by taking games off them, that can get yourself up in the race. No, the problem is these games, unfortunately, while not directly against divisional foes, aren't exactly walks in the park either. You got 3 against the Brewers, who lead the NL Central. You got day off, and you got 3 versus the Nationals, who they're third place in the NL East, but they still got some talent. Then you got 3. Then you got a 6-game road trip. 3 at Houston, who took 2 out of 3 from earlier in the year. I know there was some frustration in that series, and there we blew game 1, rolled in game 2, and got smacked on Mother's Day. And then we go to Atlanta for 3. It'll be interesting to see how they do with Acuna's with Acuna being hurt. But after that, you got a 3-game series for the White Sox, and then you welcome in the best team in the NL, in my opinion. Maybe the top best rolling team in the major leagues, maybe second best in Philadelphia. Who will, we have to play a great baseball for that. How are you feeling about Justin Henry Malloy, his first series that he had in the bigs, and the Torkelson move going down in Toledo?
Justin Henry Malloy, obviously a good start. Again, you don't want to get too wrapped up, after his debut. Again, much like the Tigers themselves, he needs to put together, um, a good stretch. And the thing is too, is if he remains up with the club, obviously came, in the beginning of June. He wasn't around at the beginning of the season. But if he remains up with the club and he has a hot bat, the thing you need to look out for is his second half. Um, Relative obviously to when he made his debut. Um, just because with young hitters, opposing teams, especially within the division, that tape starts to get out on guys. The scouting tends to get out on these guys. So
Right.
teams are going to make their adjustments on him, and we need to see how he's going to make those adjustments later on down the road as the season progresses. So, good start. I loved his mom's reaction to his home run. That was really cool to see. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like the Tigers themselves, let's see if any success that he does have is sustainable. If he's going to be able to make those adjustments, because teams are going to be adjusting to him. Um, the good thing about him though, unlike a lot of other guys that we've seen come up with the Tigers, is Henry Malloy has some cachet surrounding him. So anything that we see, any success that we see with him is not an anomaly, or kind of like a shot in the dark or anything like that. Um, he has talent, which is
Yeah.
good, obviously, and it's good in the sense because something like that, if you have a guy that is talented and coming in and having success, I don't want to say immediately, but relatively, quick, since he's made his debut, then I think that type of success is more sustainable. We've seen too many guys in the past, like the Chris Sheltons, the Brendan Bosch, the Matt Tuasasopos, the Quentin Berries, who were true flashes in the pan and flamed out as the season went on because that tape started getting out, the scouting started getting out on those guys. Um, what was the second question?
Torkelson going down.
Torkelson. Um, should have happened a month ago,
Yeah.
honestly. I don't know what they were really waiting for. Uh,
Hesitant
I
to make
never,
the move. And that's what I
yeah,
think. I think it comes down to.
I mean, it was a much needed move. Like I said, it should happen a month ago. I didn't agree with them, being hesitant about it, dragging their feet with it, thinking that things were going to change for him because he's a young guy still. And it's like I said, I wish would have done it a while ago, and I think he's going to benefit from it. I think that he's going to go down and he's going to get his confidence back, find his swing, um, and come back a better player. I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen it with high profile guys in the past. Um, Notably Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer, when he first got to Detroit, didn't play well at all. Team sent him down, came back, and that was the beginning of Max Scherzer's Hall of Fame career. Uh,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that Spencer Torkelson's going to be is going to come back and have a Hall of Fame career, but I expect him to come back and find that stroke again, be successful, contribute to the team, and contribute to the team winning. So,
I think it's a good sign too that if he can go down there, he can discover his bat, get some good swings in there. It's good motivation and a good run. I think Parker Meadows is needed some AAA bats when he went down. It's what Meadows won, Torkelson two. It seems like in that lineup, and I think there that if they can get going, that's just it'll almost feel like a new acquisition in a way if he's really like keeps the form going when he gets back. And that could be very beneficial for us depending on how we do these next few weeks in particular. Um, when you're seeing in case any other guys go down, like Kerry Carpenter's down right now. But that's, opening up an opportunity. Like Vencel Perez is still having solid at bats. Zach McKinstry's had a good run a little bit. Even looks like he's been playing out in the outfield now too. Obviously Matt Vierland's been good. It seems like the hashtag Vierland to ASG is going off well, and I don't think that's even fully Tigers fans leading that charge. So, um, I think it's more of that is steps in the right direction. I am curious to see was Jack Flaherty leaving the game early on to just a precautionary measure, or if it's something else that is a sign of concern with obviously Kenta Maeda leaving yesterday after only throwing 2 pitches. I think that is a wonder because, if anything, we're thankful that at least 3/5 of our rotation right now has been very, very difficult to go up against in Tarek Skubal, Jack Flaherty, and Reese Olson. Reese Olson may not have gotten the wins like Skubal, but he's keeping the team in the with his pitching performances. So I suppose why don't we do the next 2 series? Brewers, Nationals, how do you see us going with those as these 6 games we have at home coming up?
I don't know. I don't want to make any predictions, just because
Right.
I don't know what this team is right now. Honestly, um, it's hard to, it's hard. It's just hard to put a finger down on it. I can see it going either way. I can see them going and winning the next 2 series, and I can see them going and losing the next 2 series. I'm not. I just I'm very, 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 very cautiously optimistic um, coming out of this Texas series with them. I just I don't know. Honestly, I don't
Right.
know. Um, so I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I think it's a good sign. This Milwaukee series, I think, is a good sign to see how we do. I think this is probably, of the 3-game series we've had at Comerica so far this year, this may be a running as maybe the toughest team we faced so far. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to think other high-profile teams we've had this year. I mean, we've had the Royals and the Twins at Comerica. And obviously the Royals are much better than they've won 37. They've won 37 games this year. They won 56 all last year, so they've definitely made the moves that they've needed to make, and players have taken the next steps. And the Twins after that, division winners last year. So I think
I
the
mean, if they
Brewers will
can
be a
go,
good
if they
test to
can,
see.
yeah, if they can go and take 2 of 3 from Milwaukee, hey, awesome, do that.
Yeah,
Especially at home. Um, but even if they
my
go and
concern.
take, go ahead.
I was going to say my one concern, and this is an aesthetic concern. They take the game tomorrow night in game 1, they're going to roll the City Connects out more than one day, because look what happened the last bloody time. What? If that is our rally monkey and that helps us do some good luck in this, so be it, right? So, it's a big series. I think it's Olsen tomorrow, my Saturday, Skubal Sunday. I'll wrap that up on here, but that should be the rotation on there. I'm looking that up right now. I don't like that if you go to the Tigers website and you click on on the calendar schedule, it doesn't give you the rotation right away. So I feel like I have to go to like ESPN's like 5-6 day game things where it gives you the battle on the mound here. So looking at it right there. Tomorrow night, ebbs and flows. Um, Yeah, so it is the Brewers don't their starting pitching is undecided, but it's Reese Olson for us tomorrow night. Saturday at 4:10, you got Freddie Peralta, Casey Mize, and then the third matchup. This one goes to Saturday. Let's go to Sunday here. At the mercy of the internet. Also, another thing too is division rivals are playing. Some division rivals are playing today. The Twins are currently losing to the Yankees, so that could be ground to catch up on. And the Royals took the win over the Guardians earlier. Bryce Wilson versus Tariq Skubal's game 3 on Sunday, 1:40 p.m. So those are the 3 against the Brewers, and then a day off, and then 3 versus the Nationals. So yeah, I think that's essentially it from there. If you, I'm sure we got the live chat going on the YouTube live, so if you wanted to drop in your thoughts, or if people already dropped their thoughts on how you feel this Tiger series go, you drop it in the chat. Let's transition to the team I'd say that's had almost as much news, if not maybe a little bit more, depending on it. They're Pistons. So it came like a ray of sunshine to many folks, ourselves included, on Friday. In fact, I found it via Adam's tweet on the majors with that hint of the. So Thursday, I think was a Thursday that the Pistons made finally official Trey Langdon as the president of basketball operations. Friday came the press dropped via. Forgetting the names. James Edwards is one of them. The second one from The Athletic. The Troy Weaver has been let go. Apparently, the team offered him an off-site scouting position. He turned it down. So, to some people, the local suffering nightmare is over. So now it is hunting to see who will basically be the number two behind Trent Langdon. Michael Blackstone was a name that has been thrown around. Also seems to be throwing around discussion potentially is, will Monty Williams be the head coach of this team going into the start of the 24-25 season? It's wild. So Adam, after what seemed like radio silence when the season ended in April to now this last, I think we heard rumblings from Adrian Wojnarowski about 2 weeks ago today that the Pistons were hiring Trey Langdon, to now where we're at, roughly 2-3 weeks away from the draft. How are we feeling?
Again, hard to say, I guess. I'm glad
Right.
that they got rid of Weaver. Something that you needed to do. Glad they. I'm gonna kind of echo some of the same sentiments that I had last week. Glad they gave Langdon the opportunity to, build his own team here instead of, um,
Right.
having the handcuffs on and being forced to, give Weaver one more year. Um,
Right.
if he, I mean, and again, if he wants to, and I'm glad he has the opportunity to do what he wants to do with Monty Williams. Again, like I said before, if I'm him, I keep Monty Williams another year,
Yeah.
just to, see how things go with a new general manager in place and how that works out with Monty Williams. Because obviously, it didn't work. The working relationship between Weaver and Monty Williams didn't work out. And it seemed like Weaver was constructing this team in a way that Monty Williams really couldn't benefit from. He really couldn't work with. That's not to say that they need to tear things down or anything like that. I don't want to see them go and deal a Jalen Duren. I don't want to see them do anything with the core three that they have. Cunningham,
Right.
Ivy, Duren. I want them to keep that in place right now, and build from there, because I do think that they have a decent core with those three guys right now. It's just uh, it's the supporting pieces around them that they need to do something with. They need to use the cap money, spend responsibly.
Right.
Don't go out and get like a Joe Harris type of player and think that that's going to, um, get you an improvement in wins this upcoming
How long
season.
was he out last year when even, because that was another thing too, we make these free agent signings and then they're not even able to play half a season. And that's, it's a bad, and these are bad investments. And it seems like we were doing that a few times in these last couple of years with our free agent signings. And I think that's going to be interesting too, is now what type of pull does Trey Langdon have, especially when you look at some of the names. I'm seeing something, apparently Sacramento's writing things are talking about the Pistons maybe being a threat to land Malik Monk, because Malik Monk's a UFA on June 30th is the start of NBA free agency. Um, the draft is a little bit before that. Pistons have the 5th pick in the draft. I think I agree with you in that it's still early days. I want to see how the rest of this is being formulated. I want to see our approach to the draft because it's lauded. It seems like it is. So it seems like the rumbling after one beyond last year that this is going to be a weaker draft has the illusion to be what has a weaker draft. But can they land somebody good at 5, or are they going to want to maybe make a move to either go higher up in the draft or get somebody now with the 5th pick? I think it'll be interesting. There's a couple different ways you can go about this. So,
If I'm them,
what are
I
you?
try to trade. If I'm them, I try to trade out of that pick. 5th pick gets
Yeah,
you nothing. It doesn't benefit them in any way. Um, I use that pick to try to get some veteran pieces in return.
yeah,
Pistons are at a point right now where if they're not picking 1 or 2, then what the hell's the point? This isn't the NFL draft where you can find talent up and down the board and into the second round. Um,
right.
a bad NBA draft, a bad draft class. Um, in some cases, there's no point in picking outside the top 2. Um,
Yeah,
so
but
if I'm the Pistons, I'm trading out of it.
great. I think it'll be all very interesting, and I think take a look at the market. I would say for those who want to take a look at the market and see who's in UFAs, who might be teams that may have guys with a year or 2 left in the deal that might be able to move something. I think the thing in particular for the Pistons that I would think is Duran, Ivy, Cunningham's agree with you, is a strong 3, a great 3 to build around, a young 3, a 3 that hopefully can be together for the next few years at least, and hopefully even more than that. The concern is with our secondary depth. And for a team that we're, starting to get the 20th anniversary of a team that was our last NBA championship win, hardworking team, a team that grinding defense, things that were the exact opposite of what this team. The old saying of Detroit's going to work. Well, this team struggled to work last year, struggled to actually work 2 years ago and all that. Right now, I'd almost want to call it an identity crisis for the Pistons, is what Trae Langdon's coming into. Can we establish a new identity or rediscover some of these traits that, made people, if not fall in love with Detroit basketball, even appreciate Detroit basketball? Even if basketball is not one of your strongest, your main sport. I mean, our Danny Dicchio for Detroit City example, his first year, he talked about how he took note from the bad boys, and that's something that I think it's an identity. It's something that sticks with people, and hardworking, lunch in the pail type thing. So, can this team create a little bit of identity to at least move forward in the right direction? At least so they're somewhat a little bit more competitive, at least this year and the coming years. There's a hell of a lot of work to do to get back to get to a point where we can be either in the top 10 or in the conference or just underneath that come April of a particular year. But I'd like to see us at least moving forwards instead of backwards. So I know we got I know we talked about it too. We got a special episode coming up, Piston stuff with our friend Yowdy's brother Matt, Yowdy was our guy for talking Tiger stuff. Matt's going to be like that for the Pistons. We'll talk about, where the team's at so far, what we think might happen with the draft, tie in the free agency too. That's a couple weeks away, so just for people to keep on the lookout. Did you have anything else on Pistons, Adam, before we roll into third?
Just real quick, you talked about the identity with the bad boys and the going to work Pistons. Um, even the going, staying with something that's a little bit more more modern with the going to work Pistons. I mean, we talked about the core three and how important it is for them to find success. And
Right.
in some sense, I say stick together right now. I know there's going to be a lot of people who be like, well, what have they done? Let's get rid of them. And, we were coming off two awful seasons and whatever. Again, I understand the shittiness that was the Pistons last two seasons, especially.
Right.
But you look at the going to work Pistons and a couple of glaring things that that team had that this current team doesn't have is that depth. I
Yeah.
mean, you look at those teams before. Yes, you had the starting five, which that starting five has become royalty here. It's Pistons royalty. They're legends. Sheed, Rip, Tayshaun, Chauncey, Ben. I mean, again, legends in their own right. Um, but you look at the guys who were part of that team, who came off the bench and were huge for that team. I'm talking about the Antonio McDyces. I'm talking about the Darvin Hams. I'm talking about the Corliss Williamses. I'm talking about the Mike James. Again, all guys that contributed. All guys that if they weren't there, you could make a solid argument that the Pistons don't win in 2004. Um,
I'm just looking because I wasn't. I always
and
swear
they
Dyson.
don't continue to have that success in 2005 and in the subsequent years after that. Sorry, Garrett, go ahead.
I was gonna say because I'm trying to remember if we had Dice on the '04 team or if we picked up Dice for the following season.
You know
I
what?
know if
Now that you say that, I was he the replacement for what's his name? The guy from
uh,
Turkey,
oh Mehmet Okur.
Mehmet Okur. Yes, was he the replacement for him? I think he was.
Right.
He,
Yeah, he went to the Pistons in the offseason because Mehmet went to Utah, right? After that.
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Um, I'm
still, they should have won in 2005 too. If Rashid could, pick up a blocking assignment, obviously. But um,
we were spoiled when you look at the fact that that was part of its run where the Detroit Pistons made 6 straight Eastern Conference Finals.
mhm.
Um, and as much as we won in 2004, and yeah, leaving Robert Ory in the corner open on I don't think was it Father's Day that we left him open. It was something bad. It was something painful. And then 2006 is the frustrating because we set the team record for most wins in the season, only to almost lose in the second round to the Cavs and LeBron James starting to make his mark there, to then losing in six to the team that and with Shaq and D Wade that eventually won the NBA Finals that year. Those teams we long for those teams in a way. So here's hoping that we can get somewhat, if not throwback reminiscent of that, something that the core three and those around it can stamp their own identity um, in this, history of Detroit basketball because we need it, plain and simple. On to topic three and a team that has made those strides in the last few years and um, not just and becoming darlings, not just in this area, but in maybe the country period, are Detroit Lions. Um, basically, there's some, mandatory off-season workouts going on right now. There's some cool rumblings going in there. A lot of talk about Jameson Williams, apparently making big strides. excited. I hope that I'm hope that the hype train's not too much, just because we know it's a long NFL season and injuries and everything like that. Um, Adam, what are you taking from the last few weeks with obviously rookies getting together in off-season workouts, now mandatory workouts. Um, First, seeing more of the free agent additions and trades that are getting developed here and getting settled here. Amik Robinson, Carlton Davis, DJ Reader, Marcus Davenport, all these guys and so forth.
Um, it's encouraging to hear the JMO news, but um, I kind of expected something like that, honestly.
Yeah,
Um, and you're not going to have, I mean, obviously, you're not going to have, coaches out here, especially a guy like Dan Campbell, come out and bash a guy if he's, not performing. Um, One way you do know it's legitimate, and he is seemingly having a good start to these camps, is you're not hearing the media say anything on the contrary. Um,
nope,
Media's been pretty silent, and one thing about Detroit media is they loved to fucking bash on JMO. They loved to try to make something out of anything and everything that happened with JMO early on, in his time with Detroit. So we're not hearing that same bullshit. We're not hearing that same narrative come from the media that, oh, JMO looks horrible. He looks disinterested. It looks like he wants to get out of here, um, which is good. It's good because I think the Detroit media is going to find any and every opportunity to try to make a story out of it. Um, Couple of other things. I mean, not necessarily camp related, but the Ben Johnson stuff, um, about how he wanted to reap the rewards of a good team, which when this Ben Johnson stuff came out, I'm going to be completely honest with you, Garrett. And I don't know how you feel regarding this because you and I have lived in the Detroit area our entire lives.
right.
And it's even with the season that we saw last year and the way that they finished out um, 2022, it is still so odd
Yeah,
to see this team successful, and seeing a guy like Ben Johnson, who was the hottest head coaching candidate this past offseason, was
right.
probably one of the hottest coaching candidates in the offseason prior, still say that he wants to stay here and he wants to reap the rewards that comes with coaching a good team.
Hmm.
And and not only that, seeing guys that are happy to be here and see guys want to come here and play for a guy like Dan Campbell. Um, it's just so odd, and it's refreshing to hear Ben Johnson, come and say that he wants to stay here. He wants to, and I know Garrett's gonna get this because he is a fucking wrestling nerd like myself. He wants to finish the story with
Damn right.
with the Detroit Lions, and um, God, that is just such a it is it's an awesome feeling. It's awesome to hear, but at the same time, it is still so very foreign in a way to myself, being a long suffering Lions fans. And I don't know. I don't want to speak for you. Maybe it's the same thing for you. But yeah,
It,
that's kind of how I'm feeling though with shit like that.
yeah, and I think the thing for us, I think you and I were felt we were pretty much resigned to the fact that we were going to be losing Ben Johnson. Like you
Yeah.
had a feeling like he was going to. We were like, we're going to be losing Ben Johnson, and we might lose AG, Aaron Glenn.
Hmm.
To then that shot of adrenaline that we got, was it the middle of Feb? Was it, I don't know when it was, how soon it was around the Super Bowl, before or after, but that like, yo, it's like he ain't fucking leaving, right? he the wolf of the, I mean, okay, the maybe not the wolf of the Detroit Lions doesn't make sense because wolves and lions fucking hate each other, but I ain't leaving. I have unfinished business, and everyone around there, it seems like it's a unified mentality. I was telling this, um, I was on a guest, and I'll talk about it in the end when we do the post match. But I was on a Rhode Island fan podcast last night. I was talking about players wanting to play for their coach and how that motivate people playing, like motivated and everything for there. That Alex Anzalone Players Tribune, where he's talking with Dan Campbell, and Dan's like, "Are you going to watch the game?" Referencing the Super Bowl between the Niners and the Chiefs, which I know Adam, you and I talked about. We're like, yeah, I was gonna be like, fuck it, I ain't watching this game. I'm not gonna watch another Super Bowl till we're in it. But then you see Dan Campbell be like, no, you gotta watch it. You gotta take this all in. You gotta do all these, get that feeling, motivates you. It's like, damn it, all right, yeah, you see it. And now, we're all of us to this point, when we'll quote our friend Dennis, when the Lions new uniform video reveal came out, I think one of the things he said was, our friend isn't been in Chicago for the last year, where he talked about, I want to run through a fucking wall right now. That's all of us, and I know it's definitely those guys that are doing the workouts in Allen Park. And we're 3 months away from the season. As weird as that sounds, how fast time's flowing. I know Terry and Arnold's making waves too, man. Agent Zero and all of that stuff. One thing that did come up tonight, I don't know if you saw it, Adam, but I was seeing it from the Honolulu Blues Twitter, and I know the Free Press wrote a piece on it. We may have a interesting situation developing at kicker. Um, so I know mostly me, talking about Jake Bates and the Michigan Panthers, but it seems like another Michigan man is causing some competition, and that's James Turner. Apparently, rumbling is that it's making it incredibly. He's made it very hard for Badgley to keep the role for kicking. When you hear something like that, what does that make you feel?
Makes me feel good. I think that I know there's a lot of I know there's a lot of criticism, you know, going Brad Holmes' way, considering what he didn't do, I guess, with the kicking position this offseason. And a lot of people are like, well, if they had a decent kicker in there, they would have probably have, went to the Super Bowl because Dan
As if
Campbell wouldn't have,
they had
because Dan
years of
Campbell
pain.
wouldn't have, yeah, because Dan Campbell wouldn't have felt the need to go for it, all the time. Which, you know what? I think that's just in Dan Campbell's nature. I think that even if they did have a kicker like, I don't want to say like a Justin Tucker, um, but if they had a guy that was, maybe just the tier below Justin Tucker, um, I think Dan Campbell still would have gambled and did what he always has done, with as Lions head coach. He is a gambler, and that's who Dan Campbell is. So I don't think that makes any difference. But competition in this sense is good. I'm glad that there is some competition at the position, and they're not just giving these positions away um, without that competition. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Um, I think it'll be very interesting to see if that develops. I know my coworker was, when I sent the tweet to him about the announcement for that, he's like, "Boo! I want Jake Bates." Yeah, Jake Bates is a cool story, but I do like that some things are being determined and established. I just flipped back from took a look at the stage outside Michigan Central just because I know Lake Works being a part is another. It's just fun to see this whole Renaissance of Lions, Renaissance of historical buildings, and this Michigan Central being rebuilt on there. A couple of blocks from now, we're done with this, but this ties into the start of our post game. A couple of blocks away from what will be the future home of Detroit City FC. I know, Adam, you and I had the fun pleasure of walking around and kind of seeing the areas as it is now and seeing what it's becoming and thinking about what it's going to be. I think that kind of is in line with Detroit City's men and women lately. Um, the men have had a rough couple, last three matches in competition. So to give a rundown, Open Cup, May 22nd, 3-0 loss to Indy 11, all three goals allowed in the first half. Last Wednesday took the lead at Louisville FC, who've been wrecking teams at home, 1-1 at the half, thought we had a good chance. Then we forgot how to play defense, and Louisville City scored 4. 5-1 the final there. 3 days later, go to an Orange County team. I was banged up, that was injured. I think they had scored 11 in 12 games, or 12 and 11. City jumps out to the lead via Stephen Carroll header. Orange County pulls one back, takes a 2-1 lead. Elijah buries a pen, but then we give up a late goal. 3-2, Orange County wins. 11 goals given up by the men in 3 games. The women, 2 matches played starting with last weekend. This past Saturday, a 1-0 win over Cleveland Forest, a hard-fought win, plenty of chances. Sophie Romine, who just apparently just takes long-distance bangers, commonality, similar to how Adam produces on a regular basis and I talk. However, however, 2 days ago the women traveled to Kalamazoo, a very, very difficult match against the team Kalamazoo FC side that seems to be in the running to cause some issues in the W League. A 4-0 win over Flint this past Saturday by Kalamazoo. However, it was a 0-0 drag-out battle. I still argue, though, that as much of it was a battle between Detroit City and Kalamazoo on the field in Kalamazoo, it was more of a battle in the first half for anyone that tried to check out that stream on the YouTube. Holy fuck, that was bad.
Yep.
That was the real battle. And anyone that, remember that moment in June 4th where you were on that, because I shit you not, my dial-up connection, my Juno service dial-up in 2001 had a better frame rate than that. I appreciate Kalamazoo noticing it, catching it. The second half was somewhat marginally better, but yikes, that was painful. What was more concerning to you?
I think our broadcast now has a better frame rate than what the Kalamazoo, than what we saw
I
at the
got a
Kalamazoo match last night.
I got to knock on a fucking table so you don't jinx that. Um, so next up we got. So what's next for the men and women? Women start home to an old foe in AFC Ann Arbor, 4 p.m. Saturday at Keyworth. K9's at Keyworth. So yeah, if you got dogs, show up and bring them to Keyworth. Though 2 years ago we had a squirrel that ran out into the pitch, delayed the game, and then went into the grandstand with all the dogs and made a dashing thing through her life through the box office. That was more entertaining than what was the match, unfortunately, that day. But that might happen, so highly recommend that. The men take on Rhode Island Saturday night, 7:30. How are you feeling about real quick, how are you feeling about the women? How are you feeling about the men on their matchup on Saturday?
I'm obviously feeling better about the women than I am the men right now.
Right.
The women, yeah. I'm not going to put a whole lot into what happened at Kalamazoo. Coming out 0-0 on the road against a Kalamazoo squad that has had a good start to their season. I
Right.
mean, Kalamazoo and this upcoming one against Ann Arbor is going to be challenges for them. Ann Arbor has had a good start to the season. Kalamazoo has had a good start to the season. Ann Arbor is coming off of I think, a 1-0 loss to Midwest United. Um, an old foe of ours who we still haven't been able to beat quite yet. Um,
Next next Saturday for the first match of the two this season between City and
of the
Midwest.
doubleheader, yeah. Um, so like I said, I wasn't able to catch any of that Kalamazoo match just because I couldn't make it through that stream. It was awful. I saw Kalamazoo had what seemed to be a good early chance that they sailed wide. And it seems like for the most part, City had the upper hand in that one. They just couldn't convert. Uh, Against Ann Arbor again, yeah. I just the one thing that concerns me about the women's side right now is their ability to finish because they've been
Yeah.
dominating most, if not all, of these games, especially the last two against maybe not so much against Kalamazoo either, despite it seemed like they had a bit of an upper hand in that one. But the game against Cleveland Force too, it seemed like
Yeah.
they had the momentum, they had the upper hand, they had a huge upper hand in that game. They just couldn't bury anything. Um, and it sucks playing in those games because all it takes is some shitty bounce on the other end that
P.
uh, that the other team capitalizes on, and it spells doom for City. So that's the only thing
Yeah.
that really concerns me with the women's team. That and inability to gel based on the number of players and the amount of roster turnover that they have week to week. But Dave Dway, he seems to be doing a good job, kind of um, remedying that. And again, for the men, uh, I'm what I said last night on the throw-in with Allen. One thing I'm not. Again, you're gonna have shitty portions of the year. It's a long season for the men. You're gonna have bad stretches at times. Um, what's concerning right now, obviously, the way that they're giving up goals is very uncharacteristic of them, especially with past teams. Um, it's the way that they're handling these quick turnover games. Um, yes, they had to travel down to Louisville, tough match, in a tough venue, and then have to go out west
Then
and
they went on the.
play Orange County.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Scenarios like that, it's not going to get any easier as the season moves on. End of June and into August, it's going to be absolute hell. And they need to find a way to manage that. And they have to find a way to manage that right now.
Right.
They need to go into this weekend. They need to take this game against Rhode Island because after that they have what, Charleston,
Charleston on
and
Saturday.
You have Tampa Bay coming up. Um, a lot of the stuff doesn't get any easier. You need to take advantage against teams that you can beat and that you should beat. They're a better team than Rhode Island, especially considering who Rhode Island just lost. Who did Rhode Island just lose?
They lost Jack Pantaneu, who was one of their
Yep.
playmakers. New England Evolution of MLS. He was on loan to Rhode Island from their injury situation has happened. so that the Revs recalled him actually yesterday, as I found out. So um, shout out to Matt and Ryan of RAFC Nation. Jumped on their podcast yesterday live. So that was for a little RAFC Nation 451 talk about the match. I'm gonna kind of mention to you what I talked with them about. Um, if we continue with our lapses in concentration, we're not going to take 3 points. We're playing a Rhode Island team. While they've only won one match, they've drawn 75% of their matches this year, and they've only lost one time at home, and that was the Phoenix Rising. Rhode Island at home is drawn against New Mexico, Charleston, Pittsburgh, Louisville, Sacramento, which means they are difficult out. However, they are struggling to find it. They have made a lot of moves in the offseason. They are establishing. They are. I think Adam, you made a good point in the throw-in with Allen. They are trying to establish chemistry. And earlier on in the year, they've been trying different shapes. So this is a pivotal match for both teams. Both Detroit City coming into the road. Danny Dicchio and Stephen Carroll in the club's video yesterday that came out said all the right things about wanting to make a right defense, about making the defensive errors, talking it out as a group, doing it. Now you got to do. You said the things. Now you got to do the things. I had women 2-0 over Ann Arbor, and I'm going 1-1 draw for the men in Rhode Island. What about you?
I had a 2-0. I think last night I said 2-0 against Ann Arbor and 2-1 winners against Rhode Island.
So we'll see how that goes. Women 4 p.m. against Ann Arbor at Keyworth. Seriously, even though it's a newer rivalry of the women, Detroit City Ann Arbor is a historical rivalry. Without Detroit City Ann Arbor, there's no 451 podcast because we wouldn't have had 451 happen on July 7, 2017. So
Aw.
that's and Mondi with the right foot that year, and all these things. Detroit City Ann Arbor's fun, especially if you have dogs. Bring your pet to K9 to Keyworth. So yeah. And then the men are in Rhode Island, 7:30 p.m. Saturday. Anyone that's making the trip to Rhode Island, shoot me a message at GM Comats, and I'll connect y'all with people on there for just being on that. So that is for that. All things Les Rouge, nothing else really to know. Adam, NGS Pride Raiser, how's that going right now?
I believe we eclipsed 10,000 so far,
All right.
which is cool. But we still have a lot of work to do. We still need to get those number of pledges up, and we need to get that dollar amount up still. Again, it is still early June, and there's still a long way to go in the month, but don't wait around to get your pledge in, please. Head on over to ngs.prideraiser.org, get your pledges in. You can make adjustments to them up until June 30th. So if City starts scoring, the men's and women's teams, those home goal totals start going way, way up, and you need to make an adjustment, bring down your original pledge amount. That's fine. Don't worry about it. You can do that. Or if they don't score, which I hope isn't the case, and you want to up your pledge to kind of make up for it, you can do that as well. Just please get those pledges in. It doesn't matter if if it doesn't matter if you're donating $1. Just go over to ngs.prideraiser.org, get them in, and then make those adjustments as things go on in the month. Again, it goes to benefit a excellent cause, the Ruth Ellis Center in Detroit. They do amazing work for the young LGBTQ community. Just a bunch of different things. They help with housing. They have basically like a community center set up where you know LGBTQ youth 13 to 30 could come in and, hang out and meet people, and it's a safe environment. Um, they help with housing, they help with school, they help with doctor's appointments. It's just they did such amazing. They help with clothing. If
Right.
if you're an LGBTQ youth that needs nice clothes because you need to go on a job interview or need to go to a job interview, they could help you out with that. It's again, it's an amazing organization. Run by amazing people. So please get those donations in. You can do a one-time donation as well. Um, head over to the any NGS social media platform. You could find the information there. Um, and or better yet, make a pledge. Every little bit helps, and
Yep.
I'm just so yeah.
Ruth Ellis Center, 25th anniversary of its founding. Big year for them. They do absolutely wonderful things in the city and the surrounding areas. Currently, total pledge per goal is $1,669.69. So, what you said, ngs.priderage.org. Shout out to a dear friend of ours, Dean P. Simmer. Jumped on CBS Detroit News last night to talk about the thing there. Highly recommend the videos online to check it out. So, a shout out to our buddy there and all that are involved with that. So, on that for Les Rouge, shifting to a team that, while not in a different shade of rouge, Michigan Panthers, UFL in the USFL Division Championship game against Birmingham this coming Saturday. Good year for the Panthers. Mike Nolan, UFL Coach of the Year. Birmingham, however, was 9-1 in the regular season, 2 wins over Michigan. Over the Panthers, do they make it 3 on Saturday?
I don't know. Just stay away from DCFC's new stadium, Panthers.
Saturday afternoon for that
You're
UFL
not welcome
USF.
there.
Yeah, ABC is going to be having that game. So Panthers go on for there. Jake Bates kicks some long field goals in case the Lions need you come in the offseason. Another thing, real quick, I'm trying to think otherwise on there. Those north of the state in Saginaw, congratulations, Saginaw Spirit OHL, who play in the OHL juniors. They hosted the Memorial Cup, which is the big tournament for Canadian and American teams taking place in those divisions, defeating London Knights in the final game. So they won the Memorial
Plymouth
Cup.
Whalers. Plymouth Whalers forever.
Yeah. So I mean, here's the thing for me. I'm close to Spitz, to Windsor Spitfires. So I feel like yeah, I'm almost. Although, what are they now? Flint Generals.
You're, wait,
So
you're wait, you're wait, you're no the who are wait the fire or the Whalers?
where
No,
did the Whalers Flint, but they come
they're
the
like the Flint
Firebirds?
Firebird. Yeah, they're the Flint Firebirds if the Flint Firebirds are still around right now. I thought you were a Saginaw Spirit guy.
No, I never went to a Spirit game. But I
I thought
give
you did
credit to
go to
that.
a Spirit game.
No, I went to a no, I went to a Dusseldorf game in Germany. I went to a Plymouth game in 2015 when they took on Sarnia, but I live close to Spitz. Because
Who's that?
I work
Who's that one team out there near
I
you? The
oh, here on
the
Prowlers.
Motor
Yeah,
City
Port Huron.
Rock.
Yeah, so
No,
that's
what's the
the
other one? The Motor City Rockers or something like that.
your least favorite minor league hockey team in the entire world happens to play 10 minutes for me. However, due to
You're
their Port Huron Prowlers. Port Huron Prowlers. There we go.
okay.
Yeah. Prowlers, McMorran Arena, if you're ever up there. If you want to watch basically the U.S. version of Shoresy, go to a Port Huron Prowlers game at McMorran. That's pretty, for some, I think, U.S. senior league hockey. It's the lowest form of minor league hockey, but it's a fun time. Outside, 2 rapid fire questions. NBA Finals is starting right now. Game 1, Dallas and Boston. Celtics are kicking the shit out of the Mavs. Is that an indication of the series?
Celtics are the best team in the league. They should win this series. They should be the champions when this is all said and done. So yeah,
How many games?
I'm gonna go 5.
Ooh. Um, Boston's 12-2 in the playoffs this year. You got to knock out Luka Doncic. I don't know if they're going to sweep the Mavs, but they're going to beat the Mavs. You know what? I'll say it. I'll stir the pot. Let's see. Let's see what Doncic reacts to this. Celtics in 4. Saturday starts. Saturday starts the Stanley Cup. It is a lesser of two evils situation if you're a Detroit Red Wing fan, because on one hand you have the Florida Panthers, if your division foe, pain in the ass team to play against 4 times a year, made it to their second straight Stanley Cup final. But on the other hand, the opposing team is the Edmonton Oilers, and while they have Connor McDavid, who's fun to watch, and all these things, they also have Ken Holland running their side. So I want the Panthers to win. Adam, what about you?
I want the Panthers as well. I'm gonna say Panthers in 6.
Yeah, I think 6 is at least a good bet in there because Edmonton is that crowd has been coming alive. I'm not going to say what else has been going on in the stands in Edmonton. Y'all can just on Twitter for yeah, but if you're not sure, y'all been living under a rock. Just type in Edmonton fans game 6 Western Conference final. NSFW. So I think we've covered all that stuff, everything that we need to for this. Adam, ways they can check out the show and us.
Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe. Like, share, subscribe, whatever on YouTube. YouTube.com/The Majors TV. You can find us on any streaming or any podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Again, make sure you subscribe, like, share the podcast wherever. Help us with that algorithm. Catch us over on our website, Detroit at themajorsports.com. On Twitter, TMS Detroit. You can catch me. Follow me at TMSNX Adam on Twitter and on Instagram as well.
Twitter, Instagram, Discord for me at GM Comats. The Molding series, whether it's for Detroit City or any of the other sports teams in the cities, if it's Detroit City centric, it'll be on 451 Detroit's YouTube at 451 Detroit and the number 3. I always forget the number 3 on that, but I just remembered that after watching the live stream last night. So I realized I didn't drop a series recap video for the Tigers. So the next Tiger series recap video is going to be Sunday after the Brewers because I'm not doing one tonight. And then stay tuned for also our post-match content after the women's match on Saturday. That will drop on the Majors Detroit YouTube on there. Great shout out to Coach Dave Dwahey for the post-match interview last Saturday. We'll see who we can land after the match with Ann Arbor. And then go to 451 Detroit's YouTube Saturday night. I'd say 9:30, 10 o'clock ish for the live throw-in to basically hopefully have a good reflection after Saturday's match and not have it be a vent session. We'll see though. Everything on there. I'm trying to think what else other than that.
He's one of the best. I'll say this. He's one of the best interviews, I think.
Yeah.
He really is. He's a very good interview.
You can roll with the punches and keep the flow going, and that's highly appreciated. And that's something we highly appreciate. So, shout out to Dwahey and the ladies. Here's to them. Keeping the good vibes going and wrecking Ann Arbor on Saturday. Best luck at Dandikio and the lads getting to Rhode Island. Going in there. One
thing we forgot to mention too: the Elvis sighting. Elvis sighting.
No, we're not talking about
Elvis Amo.
So Elvis Amo, as we talked about real quick from Detroit City, tore the hip adductor off of his bone 2 months ago today. Time flies like a motherfucker. Much to our surprise, seeing him taking training yesterday in the air. I'm not sure if that means we see him Saturday or not, but it's a lot more promising than how we were feeling the last couple of weeks on there.
Do you think he
For
makes the
any
trip?
idea, for any, yeah, for do you want to see what's going on out in certain city fans? Go to Red Daisy's Twitter at
Oh God,
REDDASEY to live reactions on Wednesday and Saturday's match. Uh, this has been ever changing for him since he's been started doing his riding series. Yeah, a
he's
shout
a
out to our
feral
brother from
orange
another.
cat.
Ginges, man. Uh, Shout out to our brother from another. In the middle of coaching tryouts for his team. His youth team. He coaches in Ann Arbor, which means he's unable for podcasting business. We miss you, bud. Hope to see you next week. All well. Yeah, congrats to your club. Your Real Madrid won a Champions League for whatever millionth time. But that's it right now. Otherwise, we're going to keep going on forever. Adam over there, Garrett over here. Thank you to everybody for checking out this YouTube live edition of the Detroit City Sportscast. Until next time, see you.